Dude, well,
It's gonna happen, man. Just keep working on me. I'm gonna get over there.
but yeah, dude. So we're jumping into Colossians, the end of chapter 3, verses 18 to 25. So it goes principles for relationships. So, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as if it fit in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives and be not bitter against them. Children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well pleasing unto the Lord. Fathers, provoke not your children to anger, lest they be discouraged. Servants, obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with the eye service as men's pleasers, but in singleness of heart, fearing God, in whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as unto the Lord, and not unto men, knowing that the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Christ. But he that doeth wrong shall receive the wrong which he hath done, and there is no respect of persons. So yeah, this one's short and sweet. Dude, I don't like. I noticed like lately, bro, because I'm obviously doing like marriage stuff, so I see a lot of it on my algorithm. But I don't like how like right now there's this weird turn that like guys have to be like, it's very like be a man and leave your testicles at the door. And these are preachers, dude, during like a service, and like God taught you to be a man and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, okay, I get that, like I get it, but like, is this the TRT talking or is this the Holy Spirit? Like what's talking right now? You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
Because it's crazy, bro. Like it's crazy. And there's some really good preachers, bro, but like there's nothing about like Jesus would never say that.
yeah.
Like ever. You know what I'm saying? Like he'd never say some of these things. I'm just like, I don't know where the masculinity thing. I do think that there's like this weird uh thing going on right now where it's like men are trying to like revamp what a man is. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Well,
not
yeah.
so far to the right where you're just like, you know, this crazy alpha, like, like I don't know. You're not. It's not that guy, and it's not the guy that's like super passive. It's somewhere like in the middle where you're like, yeah, you're tough and you're capable and you're meek, but you can also be just as gentle, humble, and like it's a both sides kind of thing.
Yeah, you have to be careful when you're when you're teaching or preaching. If you have a chip on your shoulder, it's never a good thing. Um, or if you're trying to overcompensate, that's never a good thing. I
Yeah,
I understand where the message might be coming from, that men need to step up and be men,
yeah,
especially if I were like in a pastoral role, and I'm looking out at the average man that is coming to my church. So you also have to bear in mind, like, what type of church are we talking about?
yeah,
And like, I'm not even going to get into that. So like, your church culture attracts a certain type of person. So
yeah,
then you get that type of person coming to your church, or you don't get any real men coming to your church because of culture. And then you, I, I'm thinking of one guy in particular. We both know who he is, and he's like the
yeah,
hunting, fishing guy, big
yeah,
tough guy. Um, but I'm like, I don't think your song service. I don't think anything else about your whatever. Um, there's no doubt that like men across the board are more or are less manly than they might have been 40 years ago. Okay, cool, we got that. At least in churches. But when you go up there and you're preaching from this, like, having a chip on your shoulder, you're trying to prove a point. Um, you're trying to be like a Jocko type
yeah.
motivator. It's like those guys are needed, and they exist, and they have huge platforms and people want to follow them, but they're also not preaching out of the Bible. Like they're so anyway,
No,
you got to be
100%, dude.
careful preaching preaching or teaching when you have a chip on your shoulder and it's not a biblical chip on your shoulder to have.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I just, you know, so like the one thing that I've learned about guys, right, is like guys can go out there, they can fight a war. No problem. They can go fight a
Mhm.
war. Guys can go to the gym and bench press 315 pounds, right? They can go climb a mountain. They can go down a huge wave in Hawaii, like 100-foot wave. They can climb Mount Everest, right? Like guys are very capable, right? But dude, talking to your wife, super hard.
Yep.
Talking to your kids, super hard. Admitting that you're wrong, super hard. Being humble in spirit, super hard. And it's like, I don't think guys need more like masculinity to an extent, or maybe it's just the guys that I'm around. But I think the hard part is guys like need to have like, or like guys need help with navigating the darkness or like the hard things like in their heart. That's the hard part,
Yep.
like, being gentle to those around. And I was reading something yesterday and was saying how like why is it so easy to be super nice to strangers, but then treat your own people that you're close to like that, like doo doo. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's like, it is hard to navigate close relationships. It is hard to navigate people that know you better than anybody else. It is hard, like it is, because they know who you really are. And it's like, are you okay with who you really are? And if you're not, are you willing to change it? And it's like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't think it's the masculinity stuff. I think it's like what God's trying to do to everybody. I think it's like delving into your heart, and like, are you transforming your mind and your heart and soul and everything to the image of Christ? You know?
Yeah.
Um,
It's a very much an oversimplification, but that's what the Bible is. The Bible is not complicated as far as like practical advice. Men in 2026, especially Christian men, are not they're not studied up on the Bible enough to know what Christ was like and what a Christian man should be like. So you turn to the world and you get manly advice. I want my son to be a man. Perfect. Good. Awesome. He should also be like Christ. And like the passage that we're reading, Caitlin and I talked about this last night because I knew that this passage was coming up. The parallel passage is Ephesians 5, where and we already went through this, but like verse 21, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands. Immediately recoiling at that, right? Oh no, blah,
yeah,
blah, blah. As unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. So the majority of the responsibility and the ownership in that statement there, where it says, wives submit and then husbands love your wives, is on the husband. Why? Because the husband is supposed to represent Christ.
yeah,
Like that's, for one, it's impossible, but for two, it's a never-ending struggle and never-ending like journey
yeah,
to try to represent Christ. So I think these churches that we're both talking about and these big public figures and stuff, instead of focusing so much on like these outward metrics that you can check off, like you don't hunt, you don't fish, you dress like a woman, whatever. The emphasis should be on living like Christ, and then everything else will fall in line. You want to be uh, like we got a guy in our church. He owns a flower shop, but he also works at a alternator shop or whatever. But like
yeah,
he's very manly, but he owns a flower shop and an alternator shop. But he's Christ-like, and
yeah,
I think the emphasis is wrong because in this day and age, it's all about what you can see, what do you portray, and then you swing it. And we all know these people on like Instagram and stuff. They've got this like lifted truck, this pristine yard. They go bow hunting, but like everything is brand new. And I'm like, in some ways, they're more feminine than a
yeah,
guy that um, and especially if they can't lead their family, their wife doesn't respect them, then swing and a miss. You struck out before you even got up to the plate. And that's why these two passages, pastors don't want to preach on them. They don't want to call the wives out. because the wives don't have anybody to respect. And then they don't want to call the husbands out because they really don't know how to teach the man to be Christ-like.
Yeah.
So it's like a vicious downward spiral of doom.
No, for sure. No, it is crazy, bro. But yeah, like everything you said was 100% right. What I've noticed, and Mark and I were watching something, and it was like a psychology thing, and it said that boys are actually more emotional than girls because boys, there's a lot more men in jail. There's a lot more men that deal with substance abuse. There's a lot more men that deal with, suicides like that. There's more men that deal with like domestic violence. Like men have a lot of the higher outliers when it comes to like violence and all kinds of stuff. And we all think that women are more emotional, but when it comes to like single moms, more guys will just drop it and bounce, whereas most women will stay in that fold and deal with whatever they got to deal with. Like, so for example, like right now, right? Like there's more women in college. At some point in time, women will start making more money because they're just in school a lot more versus guys. The enrollment's a little bit low. And so, and they're prone to handle a lot more stress than guys, you know what I'm saying? Emotionally or whatever you call it. But guys are a lot more prone to like handle physical stress, you know what I'm saying? But no, it's just, guys are more emotional. And so like one thing that like I want my daughters to see out of me, it's like one thing that's in the back of my head. And I haven't really started to think about this, but like for like the last 2 years, but if they want to see like what a Christian guy looks like, it's a guy it's gotta be me. It's gotta be their dad. Or if they're gonna marry some guy that I approve of, it's gotta be a guy that I want them to marry. And so the one thing that like for me, bro, like the one thing that I want the kid to be, and I will have his back. I'll back them financially. I'll pray for them. I'll just love them like my own son, is a kid that has self-control with his emotions. Like that's the one thing. I don't care how rich they are. I don't care. Like, I mean, obviously I want them to be okay, but like if there's one thing, like one quality that I'm hoping that they find something in is somebody that like, whether times are good or bad, he's under control. Whether it's a high stress or a low stress circumstance, he's not freaking out. He's calm, collected, cool. It's like I want him to have self-control. And that's the one thing where some of these guys are preaching. And I don't know if it's just discernment. I don't know if it's just because I've just been so deep in like ego and the mindset and just like, self. But I know the themes of the Bible. And when someone's preaching something that's like super American or super like, alpha generated, it's like, I get what you're saying, but I don't know if this would be coming out of God's mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't know. Maybe if you're like at a gym and the Lord's lifting, but I don't know. It's like some of these things are just kind of like what you're saying. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's like, cause like, I never thought of it, but you could also lead men astray by being like that because they think that's holy, and where it's like, I don't know.
Man,
I don't know if it's holy.
I hate, I'm not going to say his name. I'm going to try to like,
yeah. No, you don't. Yeah. We know who.
Well, no, I'm going to, but there's a very popular podcast, a very popular YouTuber. And he is 100% focused on being a man. And like, that's like the title of his podcast. I mean, it's like Be a Man, something like whatever. And he went through a divorce. He's got kids, like boys. And to me, there's nothing more damaging. And I don't know if he's a Christian. I didn't listen to a ton of his stuff, but there's nothing more damaging to a young kid than to see a divorce.
Yeah, it's rough.
Spiritually speaking.
It ruins theology.
It totally blows up the picture. The only thing next to that would be disowning your child, like literally legally disowning your child. But here's a guy that was supposedly, 4 a.m. workouts, jujitsu, doing the cold plunges, had a great beard, a great truck, running the finance, all of the things the manly check boxes.
Yeah.
And the marriage totally falls apart, and we'll never know the story. Who knows what happened? But you like reading through Ephesians, the husband was someone picturing Christ, where it says, "Husband, love your wives, even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it." So here's a picture where Christ literally died to help his bride. And, picking on this guy, and I hate to do it, but like other people where a marriage has dissolved or the relationship is just crap, like it's just bad. They're still married, but there's nothing going on. It's just like they're together to raise kids together. Maybe some of the problem is the wife, sure. But a lot of the problem is a man that not only will he not die for his wife, he doesn't even want to admit that he was wrong about something, or he doesn't even want to admit that she might have been right, or that they both have an issue with communication or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. No, because like this is what guys don't know, man. This is what's crazy about guys. They think because they go and provide, right? They go to a job, they work hard at the job, they work really hard at the job, right? They're providers. They think because they supply this life to this woman, right, and these kids, right? They think because maybe they do everything, bro. Like maybe they cook, maybe they clean, maybe they handle the finances, whatever. But if you don't have a friendship with your wife, if you're not there for her emotionally and understand that when she comes to you, right? Like women, when they come to you, they tell you everything, right? That's just how they are. They tell you every little thing that's on their mind, every thought that crosses their mind. They're coming to you because you're the anchor of the family. Like, who are they going to go to? They're not going to go to anybody else. And some guys perceive it as nagging, but women are just really good communicators. They just are. They communicate. That's what they do. And if you can't handle communication from your number two, right, aka your number one, because you're one flesh, like that is not having self-control, and that is being emotionally weak. And I hate, dude, that guys in our world, they're all about physical, dude, physical strength, physical strength, physical strength. But when it comes to emotional strength, it's just this thing that we just kick down the road. And it's crazy how like we can have emotional strength at work, right? We can run a business, we can run a system with other people. We can handle it with ease, and we're reading books on it and stuff like that. But when it comes to like our spouses, bro, like the person that God gave you and the kids that God gave you, it's like, man, like we're just like we're just confused, and we have all these question marks everywhere. And it's like, no, man, it's like, wives, submit to your husbands. And they'll do it for a period of time, bro. But if you're leading them down to death, bro, it's like they're gonna bounce. Like they just are. Even Christian women, like if you're not, like, there's only a few kind of women or a few types of women that are like, if the train is on fire, they're still gonna stay on because they know what the Bible says. But they're not like that anymore. I think our parents' generation were more like that. Definitely the grandparents' generation. I mean, they were getting slapped around and still being with their husbands. But like the new generations are not sticking around if the place is on fire. And so it's like, you really have to like understand that, like, hey, if I'm not being a good husband, like it's not going to last forever. It's not.
One thing that I'm going to pick on a group of people and deal like whatever is like, I work with a lot of bikers, right? Because bikers love to crash into things on their motorcycles. And especially like human bikers, when they hit another object, a lot of times their legs fall off, just like boom. But especially the ones that are like, call them hardcore, like they're in gangs and all the stuff.
They have the leather jacket.
Yeah. The stories, and I'm overgeneralizing, but I have a pretty good sample size of people. It is a self-absorbed, I am all that matters, me and my brothers. But really, it's just me. Because if my brother messes with me, I'll shoot him and hide him behind the bar. And so it's all about my brotherhood, but it's really about me. And the stories that, because we talk and like whatever, it's so and so did this, I flipped out, this is a fight and hardcore, I'm awesome because I fought this guy or whatever. So
Yeah.
what you are saying is these people that the world looks at as like they're so macho and like manly, zero self-control, zero temperament, flying off the handle, and they always can justify it. Okay, so that's like picking on that group of people. And they will be that way until they're like 95 or till they have grandkids and they can't ride a bike anymore. And then they turn into these teddy bears where
Oh yeah, dude.
they look all hardcore and they're like little teddy bears because I think they're finally like they're scratching that itch where they have an emotional need to connect to people, an emotional need to be a provider, an emotional need to be this picture that the Bible talks about where your people are looking up to you, people are respecting you, but they can't do it to a wife because it's hard for them to stay married or whatever, but they can do it to a grandkid. So it's like
Yeah.
men are wired to be this leader. They are wired to be that person that we respect, but there's a pride element, there's a lack of control element, so we can't do it with our wife, but we'll do it to our grandkids, we'll do it to a coworker, whatever. So anyway, that's just something, and you see it with some other types of people, but generally like these really hard people, especially like if they have to tell you how hard they are, they
Yeah.
usually are very unregulated. And yeah, it's
Well,
just an interesting
well,
thing.
one of the things I was talking about a few minutes ago, and no, I agree with all that. Like that's all of that's very, I was gonna say like the reason why they can come down to like their granddaughter, and they could like it's because dude, every guy has walls up, right? Every guy, like every single guy
Yeah,
has something that's blocking who they really are to society, right? They have this persona that they show to the world, but like, who are you deep down? But when you have like a little girl who's like, "Hey, Grandpa," or "Hey, Peepaw," like, "Look, I got a new doll," or whatever you call it, their walls can come down.
yeah,
And when those walls come down, dude, it's so nice, man, because it's like you're comfortable enough to like show this person who you really are.
yeah,
And people don't walk around like that. And even to the extent where we were talking about that guy that you're talking about, how like he got divorced, like if you're truly confident in the Lord, right? You're truly confident and you're truly confident in what he's doing in your life. Like I know a few people that got divorced and they can't talk about it.
mm,
And I'm like, dude, I pray to God that you lost everything. You lost the love of your life. You lost your kids. So, I mean, obviously you still see them, but like the family dynamics done, right?
yeah, yeah,
Probably a little bit of respect from everybody around you. Not in a horrible way, but just like in a normal human way.
mm-hmm,
Like everyone's kind of like in the dark about it. But like if you can't talk about like, and I would be like, hey, what did you learn from this thing? You lost so much. I pray to God that you learned something. Like, what did you learn? And they
yeah,
can't even talk about that. And I'm just like, if you can't talk, like, dude, Paul, his stuff's in here. He
yeah,
killed somebody. David's stuff's in here. He killed some. I mean, everyone's junk is in here, but it's like if you can't talk about these hard things and where you went wrong, like the next best thing for you to do is to talk about what happened, where you went wrong, and humble yourself and be like, hey, I did this, this, and this wrong. This is why this, and this happened. And then, you're able to like show what God's doing in the recourse. So whether that's being a great co-parent or whether that's having a great relationship with your ex-wife and your kids, I mean, like whatever damage has already been done, the next best thing is to handle that circumstance in a godly way. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? But those same people, they're super hurt. They can't talk to their ex-wife anymore. They're weird with the kids. Now it's the parent versus the parent to the kids. And it's like, okay, you guys screwed up the divorce. Now you're screwing up your kids because you guys can't come to a place where it's like, hey, let's just honor the Lord and do what's right instead of
yeah,
worrying about ourselves, And it's like, dude, it's so frustrating, bro. Like when you have people that just constantly strike out, it's like, just do something right for God. Just do something right. It's not, I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it's, I don't know, I mean, it's like that's my thing is like, I really like, if I could help dudes not get divorced, like that's my passion. But I just, it's crazy how guys can be on one realm of just like this super capable person, right? Like you said, or even riding a motorcycle, like that's like hard, you know what I'm saying? But like, but on the other end, you know, it's like for some reason your wife is like this mountain that you're afraid to climb. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Well, looking at the passages, Ephesians 5 and then Colossians 3, you can't do away with like Ephesians 5:22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands. That's in the Bible. Just
Yeah.
as much as husbands love your wives. So pastors, and this is where you have to put a lot of responsibility on the people who have taught and preached and led, because they're very quick to put all these caveats on verse 22. And I understand why, because you don't want to alienate women and you don't want to make it sound like you're a chauvinist. Got it. Check the box. But then you get down to the verse 25, husbands love your wives, and you don't put all these caveats on that. Well, if she's annoying, don't love her. And if she's doing the wrong thing, don't love her. And it's like, it's just a blanket command. Husband, love your
Yeah.
wives. Wives, submit yourselves. Children, obey your parents. We don't say like, well, if your mom and dad are not following the Lord, then don't obey your parents. Now, are there caveats? 100%. Your parents tell you to go kill somebody. You don't go kill somebody. Like, we understand, and we have brain powers. So like, wives, submit yourselves unto your husband. Your husbands are telling you something immoral or something, whatever, then obviously you don't have to submit to that. But back to the leadership and the people that have been pouring into and teaching, is they're so afraid of alienating the women. So they skip over verse 22 and they jump into 25 and they hit that hard and heavy about like husbands. And most of the responsibility is on the husband, because we're representing Christ. Christ is the head of the church. We're supposed to be emulating Christ to our wives and to our kids. Well, the issue with that is we're humans and we're really bad at it. So that's where the wife has to have grace. The wife has to have, in some ways it's harder for the wife because she's supposed to be like the church is to Christ. Okay,
Yeah.
Christ is perfect. So it's not like the church has to support Christ and be like, hey, you messed up last night because you yelled at the kids. What can I do to help you if that situation comes up again? We're not doing that to Jesus Christ because he's never going to mess up. So the wife, in some ways, is in like uncharted territory because she's having to support this imperfect picture of Christ. The man is supposed to emulate Christ. We have the easy button because it's 66 books of the Bible that tell us how to live.
Yeah.
But there's ownership on both. There's responsibility on both. And sadly, I just feel like the teaching and the preaching, we want to skip over the part about wives so we can get to the husbands, but then we're not really practically demonstrating what to do if you're a wife or if you're a husband. And
No, for sure.
yeah.
Well, and that, like, I mean, one of the things that like I've noticed too, it's like, you can take the good from your parents for 1,000%, take what's good, but then understand and be self-aware of what was wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, wives, submit yourselves unto your husbands as if it fit in the Lord. Like, even just that, right? Like even like unto the Lord, which is like that's saying like submit yourselves like almost like the same as like unto God to an extent, which is is mind blowing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then husbands, love your wives and be not bitter against them, which is like, hey, husbands, like stop having resentment, stop getting annoyed, stop having these negative connotations towards the person that knows you better than anybody in the world. And at the end of the day, that's what it is, dude. It's that this one person knows you better than everybody. And the more they are comfortable with you, the more that they love you, the more that they're thinking about you, they're gonna call you out on your nonsense because they want you better. And that's one thing that I did not understand. is when Marjorie would talk to me about certain things that I was doing, it was 1000% because she's like, and maybe it was the way she did it, and maybe that's how it was like created some friction. But like, if the nice way didn't work, she's gonna do it the other way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and I got to a place where I'm like, man, like I actually have somebody who's with me, who cares about my well-being, who cares about this family dynamic, and who wants the best for us. So why am I working against her? And so now, one of the reasons why we have such a great relationship is because I look at it like almost like she's like a guard dog, and she's the one kind of like on alert mode, and she can tell me when I'm like wandering off, or she can tell me if I'm like navigating in the wrong direction, or she can tell me, hey, your your ego or your the way you're doing things is kind of going off track. I mean, I don't know, I'm just saying, like, she's watching, and I think that's what women do, is they know things, they watch for things, I'm saying, they have a good discernment about the family, and they kind of know what's going on. They're almost like the family manager to an extent, and you're kind of like the owner. And so if they come to you with problems and you're just going to dismiss them every single time, it's like, that's not what a good owner does. That's not what a good boss does. That's not what a good husband does. A good husband listens, and then they assess to figure out what the best game plan is. And I don't know, man, I saw this thing the other day, and it's like the best thing that you can do for your kids, like theology wise, like the best thing you can do for them. Yeah, you can do Bible studies for sure. You can do, like, you can read the Bible as a family. You can do all these things, but the best thing that you could do is show them how much you love their mom, or how much you love the wife. Because I think, what was it, the Christ is like, it's like love your wife as Christ loves the church.
Yeah. And gave
himself. And so your ability to just love your wife, to show them what actual love is like the best example as to how much Christ loves the church. And it's like, people don't understand that. Like, that is a direct correlation to their theology. And if you're not doing that well, it's like you're giving them this image of just like, is this how Jesus treats the church? Is he not going to be there for them no matter what? Is he not patient with them? Is he going to fly off the rail every time I come to him with a concern or a prayer request, or whatever we call it? Like, am I not able to go to him? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. It's interesting, but I think if guys had more understanding, it'd be better.
Yeah. The heartbreaking thing about marriages is you're, and then I stole this, I think it was Tony Robbins, but he had a video clip, and I don't even know if he's a Christian. I don't think he's a Christian. Maybe he is. It doesn't matter. But he was talking, and basically let's say you have a wife. Let's pick on a wife. There is nothing, and she has a child, right? There is nothing that child can do that's going to make that mom reject the child, kick the child out. And you see that all the time. They arrest a kid. He's like some little thug gangster guy. He just shot up a gas station, stole the ATM. He gets arrested. He's on video. They interview the mom, and they're like, oh, my Jimmy would never do that. He's a sweet boy, right? Cool. So that's your kid, which is expected. Then you have your husband or your wife. The Bible says you're literally one flesh. You are one and the same. And he, doesn't respect you, or she is rude or something like that. And then you're at divorce court and you're ready to separate because, well, he doesn't respect, whatever. And I get it. There's like deep, deep stuff. The idea, though, that you get from the Bible is your children are born and raised in order to leave you. For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, join unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. So, and yet, we will hold on to our kids. Doesn't matter what they do. We will stand by them. We'll pray for them. Like, think of the worst sin you can think of, and you're still going to love your kid. You're still going to pray for them. You're going to hope they get right. You're going to whatever. But then your husband or your wife screws up, and think of the worst thing. And we're done. Bye. And you just blew up the picture of Christ in the church. Think of all the stuff that we do that Christ has to forgive us for and put up with. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's easy. And there's all these like horrible things that husbands do to wives and wives do to husbands. But to your point, you and your wife should be closer than you and your children. And
Yeah.
that's what is so countercultural, and people don't want to say that, because my child is everything. My daughter is a princess. She can do no wrong. My little boy is a king, and all this stuff. And it's like, if you were that protective of your wife or your husband, and you had that same mindset of like, she is my everything, he is my everything, and I
Yeah.
don't care what he does. And with that comes a calling up and a responsibility. And
Yeah.
we brought this up a couple of weeks ago or whatever, but you're going to pay a business coach like $75 an hour, $300 an hour, like to come in to critique you, to say what you're doing wrong, to give you advice on how to change what you're doing. And then you thank them on the way out the door, and they just lit you up and said how bad you are at everything you're
Yeah.
doing. And then your live-in business coach, who happens to be gorgeous, you're just like, I don't want to listen to you. Why are you disrespecting me? Whatever. So
Yeah.
the verse that I'm thinking of, and I wrote it down, is Proverbs 31:11, and it's talking about the virtuous woman. And it says, the heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. And I
Yeah.
think if I was going to tell a wife or a lady, if you want that Ephesians 5 and Colossians 3 to work well, where you're submitting to your husband and your husband is leading the house, work on the relationship to where your husband trusts you. And it says the heart of her husband does safely trust in her. And you mentioned it earlier, where men are more emotional than women in some ways. There's no quicker way to hurt a man than to critique him from the wrong angle, like
Yeah.
where you're just saying it to be mean, or you're just saying it to put him down. But
Yeah.
if your husband can safely trust in you, you can say anything. Like
Yeah.
you can say anything you want about him. And so that's what I would say, like, to women, is build a relationship where your husband can safely trust in you. And then the husband's got to build a relationship where the wife can respect you and follow you, because she knows you're at least trying to be a picture of Christ, if that makes
No,
sense.
for sure. No, absolutely. No, that's really good. No, and dude, it's hard, man. Like it really is. It's very, very hard. Like I don't think, I mean, maybe your parents were like really good, but I mean, I know a lot of people's like, they didn't have the best example, but but regardless of like what was shown to you, I mean, it's still required of you as a Christian. You know what I'm saying? To like,
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
your wife as Christ loves the church, and like to be there. And what stinks about it too is like, if you're passive, you got the Adam effect going on, saying like your wife going all wild, and you're just kind of like, oh, that's just how she is.
Yeah.
That's who you gave me, God. You know what I'm saying? And on the other side, you can be totally, over demanding and just too much. So I don't know. It's a really simple, but yeah, man. But at the end of the day, bro, it's like it's what verse 23 says. It's like, in whatsoever you do it heartily as unto the Lord and not unto men, knowing that the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Christ. But he that doeth wrong shall receive the wrong which he hath done, and there's no respect of persons. And it's like, yeah, I don't like, we shouldn't be doing this for like just the people around us. We shouldn't be doing this for the image base of it. We shouldn't be doing this for just, whatever. We should be doing this unto the Lord. And it's almost like a form of worship.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, man, it's like has all the answers. He can equip us. And what's, like I said yesterday, man, this is what's crazy about it, right? It is so heavy to have marital problems.
Mm-hmm.
So heavy. And it's so nice when you guys are getting along and you guys are falling in love day by day by day. You guys are having a great relationship. You guys are winning as a couple. Your kids are prospering. Like, that is so nice
Yeah.
versus battling every single day. It's like, for whatever reason, man, we just hold on to like the battle. We
Yep.
do. And it's like, and it's got to be our flesh, bro. It's got to be us. It's Ralph, it's Josh. But if you just let go, surrender, and just give it to God, it just, just give it to him, man. It's like you can't go wrong. That's a great first step. Like there's no wrongness there, but yeah, man.
Well, I I think I'm gonna find it. This is like, I think, not the only issue in most marriages, most relationships, but Proverbs 13:10, only by pride cometh contention, but with the well advised is wisdom. So two parts to that verse. Pride bringing contention. For men, it's there's nothing worse than being told you're not doing a good job as a
Yeah.
husband.
Oh, for sure.
But if you heard that from somebody else that knew you very well, like if you told me, you're like, Josh, hey man, I was watching all your cameras the other day in your house and how you were interacting, and you did that wrong. Why did you get short with Claire? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh yeah, dude, you're totally right. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Then Caitlin says the same thing. The pride wells up, and it's pride, but it's also, it's that like self deprecating, like, I know I should have done better. Anyway, whatever. So by pride cometh contention. You gotta kill your pride to take the rebuke. But then the other part is, but with the well advised is wisdom. So go seek out that counsel and that advice. It might be from other people. It could be from your wife. It could be from your husband. But yeah, anyway, you're all right, man. Like it breaks my heart to know when people are going through, because to me, like, the solution is so simple, but it's so hard to like enact. It's like somebody who's very overweight. It's like the solution is so simple, but that it's very hard to actually enact. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, but no, I mean, but I do think though, like part of it, 1000% is surrendering to God. It's getting around people that are supportive, right? So going to church, going somewhere where there's people that you could be potentially vulnerable with, people that you can potentially be open with, ask for advice, whatever. And then just coming up with a game plan, because like you've got to fix it. It's your life. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. And God gives you all those things. He gives us a church. He gives us brothers. He gives us like things that precepts and laws and advice, and Paul's writing all these letters. I mean, it's all there. It's just like you said, it's just we got to enact it. But that's good, man. Yeah, I'll close this out real quick, and then dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for everything you do for us, God. I just say thank you for Josh and allowing us to like read your word, and Lord, I just ask that whoever's listening to this, so that they can be there for their wives. I pray that Josh and I are there for our wives, and that we can lead the way you want us to be led. Lord, I just ask that you just help us to do what's right, not unto men, but unto you, God, and just to help us to be the men you create us to be. We love you, Lord. Thank you. Let us have a great day. We pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.